Hey everybody, this is Everything Accounting. I'm Alfred, your friendly neighborhood CPA, and this is going to be a very interesting conversation. Today we're going to be talking about understanding your financials and not working on your financials. So I want to paint you a little picture. Imagine you just started your business and you are in construction. You are working day in, day out on the job site, 8, 10, 12-hour days. You are building up clientele, you're working with people, you're putting a name out there for yourself. And at the end of the day, you need to now go home, enter all the receipts that have come in from tradespeople, from subcontractors, from materials, from Home Depot, from all these different receipts. Now you had maybe 10 receipts to work on. By the end of the day, you have, say, 30. Not that much. Now, every day you keep growing. Every day your business is growing. So what you're finding is by the end of the first year, every day you're walking away with about 100 receipts, 100 invoices, which means that it's compounding, it's compiling. And after a 12-hour workday, you don't really have it in you to do your bookkeeping. So what you do is you decide, hey, I'm going to work on it on the weekend. I don't have to be on the job. I can work on the business. I can take care of these things. Awesome. Great. On the weekend, you're exhausted. You need to rest. So you push it off 1 week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, a couple months. Next thing you know, you have stacks on stacks on stacks of receipts, invoices, and bills that need to be paid. And you have no clue where to get started. So you start frantically freaking out and you're like, hey, I need to take care of these now. So you block off work to basically work on your admin, your bookkeeping. It's very valuable to do that, sure, but you hit a point where it's added value or it's more value for you to just hire someone to do the work. Because, quite frankly, it's too much of a headache for you. But now you are a year behind on your bookkeeping. And CRA is knocking on your door saying, hey, where are my taxes? So you start freaking out, you hire a bookkeeper, you hire anyone that will handle the books. And then you walk away. You let them take care of your books for about a year, and then you basically ask them for financial statements. You look at the financials and they mean nothing to you. They don't mean anything to you whatsoever. You're like, okay, is this how I did? Cool. I guess that works. You get them to submit to CRA, you get them to file your taxes, and you walk away. And then within 3 months, again, you are now getting another knock on your door being like, hey, you filed your taxes wrong. You don't know where to start, what to work on, what to do, who to talk to. So you basically now have to go out and find another accountant to now explain to you why your books make no sense and why CRA doesn't think your book makes sense. This may sound like you, this may not sound like you, but I've heard this story 1,000 times over. Almost every client that comes to me is coming to me from a previous bookkeeper, an accountant that didn't look at their books, didn't explain their books, or they were doing their books themselves and they just didn't know what to do. So my job is obviously to figure out what was done before, walk them through why there's differences, why there's an issue, and then on top of that, explain to them that, hey, I have to now redo 3 years worth of books, so it's going to cost more. Unfortunately, I want to help people out. I want them to understand, but work is work. You have to bill for the work that you're doing. When it comes down to it and you're trying to make things work and basically handle your books on your own, unless you are an accountant, you shouldn't be working on your books. You went into business, and yes, I use the example of the construction people. Anyone working a development job or anyone that went into business for themselves in construction, sure, but this aligns with anyone, whether it's a hair salon, whether you're in tech, whether you are working on a marketing agency, whether you are a law firm. Anyone that starts a business on their own, you have your expertise. You need to be able to trust other people to work on their expertise. Now, the other side of it is you don't want to trust fully. And what I mean by that is, yes, you have trust in the person that's handling your books, but at the same time, you need to understand your books. So my job is not only to handle your bookkeeping, handle your taxes, and handle any financial needs that come up, but my job is also to help you understand. You've hired me to make sense of your financials. So if I just hand you financials and be like, hey, here you go, here's what you're looking at, and then walk away, I'm not doing my job. So you need to hire someone that can then explain to you what's going on in your financials. And this is a mantra that I hold very dear to myself, is that if you understand the fundamentals of what I'm doing, then over time our conversations can grow and develop and we can have deeper conversations about the financials. If you have a very baseline understanding of what I'm doing, you will never be able to have those kind of conversations with me or with your accountant to say, hey, what if we do this, that, or the other and get more profit? What if we adjust this? This is something that keeps hitting our account. What is this for? I'm spending on these things. All these kind of conversations you can't have if you don't understand the financials. So that's why I constantly say it's really important for you as the business owner to understand the financials, then for you to do and work on the financials. On top of that, anytime you're spending on admin tasks like this, assuming you are running your own business and you are spending 8 to 12 hours a day working on your business, what ends up happening is there's an opportunity cost. And it's for those that don't know what opportunity cost is, it is the idea that you have time to do something else, and in lieu, you're working on this. So what is the cost that you're losing out on? This cost is essentially your time off. This is building more business. This is evaluating the business overall and working on the business and growing it. This could be hiring, mentoring, or building relationships. This could be, like I said, going on vacation. You need time off as well. You need mental breaks from your business. So all of these things have a value to them. But rather than that, you are spending it on your books and working on admin tasks. I always find that it's really important to separate the tasks that only you can do as the business owner, and what are tasks that someone else can do that you can manage. So there's a reason I, Alfred Zaghloul, run Zaghloul Consulting, or the reason why I'm doing these videos is because there's something that I do that other people won't do on my behalf. Now, there are things that I just don't want to do as well, right? But I have to do them. So you have to evaluate what are the things that you can only do, what are the things that staff can do, what are the things you don't want to work on, and how do we pass that on to other people that you trust. So in terms of working on financials, which I fall back to for myself, given my industry, I always tell people, come, talk, sit with me. If I provide you the value that you're looking for, if I provide you that break, that time off that you're looking for, or the time to be spent on other tasks, other projects, then great. We can build a working relationship off of that. We can establish something that makes sense and we can grow. If you are passing on your books, but you're not getting what you need as an individual, if you're not getting financials on time considerably, if you're not understanding your financials, then it's time to get another bookkeeper or accountant. I always fall back to the idea that you need to be able to understand every aspect of your business, but you shouldn't have to work on every aspect of your business. So when it comes down to bigger professional asks that come up, so accountants is always one, and lawyers is another one that comes up. If you think that you can handle your legal stuff, and me as an accountant, as a professional, there's not a chance I'm going to handle my legal issues. It's not, if I need a contract done, if I need an NDA created, if I need a non-compete, if I need documents signed or prepped or prepared by a lawyer, I'm not going to do it. I don't know the first thing about being a lawyer. I don't know the first thing about contract law. So my job at this point, I'm like, okay, here you go, lawyer. Please take care of this, but I want to understand why it is you built it out the way that you did. So I'm going to have a conversation with my lawyer to understand what is entailed in this contract. They're the professional. I'm not the professional when it comes to being a lawyer. Now, if they come to me and say, hey, I need accounting done, great. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that I work on. Here are the things that I'm going to deliver for you, and explain to them how their financials work. It's the same things with, in the simplest of ways, going to a doctor versus diagnosing yourself. You may have a broken arm, but you have no idea how to fix it. So you're going to go to a doctor and figure out how to fix it. It's the exact same thing with your business. You have no idea. You did not spend years and years and years studying this specific item to be able to work on it. What you did was you built a career. You built and worked and studied on what you yourself have built a business on. So whether it's marketing, you probably have a marketing degree, you have a master's in marketing, you've worked in the field for a decade plus, what have you. With construction and development, you've probably been working in it there for 20 years. For you to then turn around and be like, hey, I can figure out my books. Not a lot of people understand that bookkeeping, accounting, lawyers, we spend years. I myself spent 4 years on my bachelor's degree, another 2.5 years on my CPA. And then on top of that, we have work experience that's allowed us day in, day out to understand your financials. On top of that, the time that you're going to take to do your books, I'll probably do it in a quarter of the time because I do this for a living, whereas you don't. So you have to figure out how to do it. It's the same thing for lawyers. They've spent years studying, working on their practice. So even if you choose, hey, I'm going to take care of my legal issues, I'm going to take care of anything that comes up legally that I need to work on, that's great, but you're not going to be the expert in this field. You're just trying to figure it out. My suggestion is always, it's way better to hire someone to do it than for you to do it yourself. And again, the big factor that comes up that people always forget is opportunity cost. Like I said, the opportunity cost of you taking time off is never valued, but it should be valued. If you bill, say, $100 an hour, why would you assume your time off costs any less? In fact, your time off should cost more. If a normal employee gets overtime for going above and beyond, you should get overtime for taking your time off. Now, the reality is if you're billing $100 an hour for your work, as an example, do you really think you're going to be charged $100, $150, $200 an hour to work on bookkeeping? No. And then on top of that, if you're going to spend 2-3 hours working on it, that's $300. If we're using your regular rate, do you really think that bookkeeper is going to spend 3 hours on it? No. So you have to evaluate what your time off is worth, what that admin task is worth, and then either hire it out or take it on yourself. It also depends on the resources. So if you have finite resources and you have to work on your books because you can't afford it, that's fine. Totally understand that. That's totally admirable. But build towards a point where you can take that time off, where you can offload that work, because eventually you're going to have to. That's why big companies or even medium-sized companies have accountants. They have legal teams. They have admin staff. They have a marketing staff, or they contract out to marketing firms. They contract out to accounting firms or legal firms. The reason they do that is because they have to offload the work so that they can focus on the work that they're doing. So when it comes down to it, conclusion to all this is you really have to evaluate what are the tasks that you're working on and what are the tasks that you shouldn't be working on and what can we offload. Now, again, just final reminder here, I'm not saying don't understand your books. You have to understand your books. You have to understand your business from all aspects. But you working on it is not where the value comes in. You actually are detrimental to your business if you're the one working on it and you're trying to run $1 million business. So make sure that you are offloading where you need to. Make sure that you're understanding and working with people that you trust to explain it to you in detail so that you understand what's being worked on. If you have any questions about this, if you need any further information about how to offload or anything like that, feel free to contact me. Post a comment on this video. send me a message, reach out to me at Zaglool Consulting. I'm happy to help. So whenever you need an accountant that you can trust, I'm here, or find an accountant in your area that you can trust. So always make sure that you're evaluating the people that you're working with and making sure that you have that kind of relationship. Anyways, thanks for listening. I appreciate your time. As always, I'm Alfred, your friendly neighborhood CPA. This has been Everything Accounting. Please subscribe, and hopefully we'll chat soon.